Hi everybody. Today we're going to have a look at two things on the California behind me here. So we're going to have a look at AdBlue, which is an additive which goes into the exhausting system, and we're going to have a look at the Diesel Particulate Filter as well, the DPF. I've had quite a few questions and queries about it over the time, and people have phoned in and asking me about it and things like that, so I thought it was about time we actually did a video and kind of just give you a brief overview of the two systems, and also what to do as well if you have any problems with them as well. So we're going to have a look at the AdBlue system first, just because I'm on this side of the vehicle, so we can have a look in from on here. So if you've got any reasonably modern diesel vehicle, probably anything really from a 1.6 engine, 2 litre engine upwards, it's probably got AdBlue, probably been using AdBlue, been using it in heavy trucks for years and years and years, been in cars for quite some time now. It's a synthetic additive, which there's a separate tank for it, and actually sprays it into the exhaust system, and then obviously there's a chemical reaction that happens in there, and it reduces the amount of NOx gases, which then actually go out of the end of the vehicle, thus making it so there's less pollution coming out of the end of the vehicle. And on the transporter versions, the tank itself is actually with the actual diesel tank itself that's in there, so obviously normal diesel fill up, and then you've got your AdBlue tank. Unscrew that to take the cap off, and then obviously you can put your AdBlue straight into there. Now the transporter has a 13 litre tank for the AdBlue, and it gives you a range on your dashboard, which I'll show you in a minute. It gives you an indication to how much AdBlue is actually left in the tank and how much you need to when you change it. And basically anything from 1,500 miles down, when it's counting down the clock, you're going to get a light on your dash. It's going to ping to you, and once it starts getting really low, it's going to ping at you as well to tell you from on there. Because the AdBlue is actually a characteristic of the vehicle, so it's part and parcel of the vehicle, so the vehicle will not run if you've got no AdBlue in your tank. But I've said this many times on handover when I do with customers as well, because it gives you 1,500 miles to get some AdBlue, so there probably isn't really any excuse why you haven't got any in 1,500 miles to top it up. So me personally, on my transporter that I've had, when I'm driving around in it, I tend to, when it gets to 1,000 miles, I put 10 litres in one go. You can buy 10 litres in a tub, pop it in, and then obviously it reads it, knows you've got you're back up to full again, and that, you're getting 4,500 miles, 4,000 miles, something like that. AdBlue you can buy from lots and lots of different places. Most petrol stations sell it now in tubs. You usually see it actually when you drive in, and they've got all the the things at the front of the garage that's on there. That's normally where you find the AdBlue. Some places actually have a pump, dedicated pump for AdBlue as well, so you can put it straight in. Obviously all Volkswagen commercial centres and car centres all sell it as well, so plenty of places to buy AdBlue from. So as I said, the AdBlue actually does come up on your display. Now we're in the California Ocean at the moment. This has got digital cockpit, but it doesn't really matter which vehicle you're in, or whether it's even an old one, a T6 or that's in there. It's always shown the AdBlue in the centre of your dash. It's just a case of finding it on your display. So it's usually it's in the same functions as things like how many miles you've got left, your miles per gallon. It's in that menu setup that's on there, and it'll give you an indication how many miles you've got left. So this one at the moment here has got 3,000 miles. That's then said, and once that gets to 1,500 and below, every time you put your key in, it's going to flash up on your dash and just remind you that you need to get some more AdBlue as well. And then it also gives you a range as well below that of how much to fill up or not to put in that's in there. So on your dash, it's going to give you a range of how much to put in. You'll probably find it's in gallons, which most of these vehicles do arrive in the units in gallons, but you can change that in your menu system. So if you go to settings and units, and then into volume wise, and click on L for litres instead, your dash will actually tell you how much litres you actually need then to fill up. So this has got 3,000 miles in, and it's saying to put in between 3.75 and 4.25 litres, and that would fill it back up. Obviously there's no need to at the moment because there's 3,000 miles left that's on the range that's in there. So again, when you need to, you'll see it. So you flash up at 1,500 miles and it'll say, right, you need to put in between X and Y that's in there. But it says as a guide to give you an idea, from using it, I tended to wait till it got to 1,000, put 10 litres in, and then you're good to go on that basis after that. So once you have filled up your AdBlue tank, you get back in the vehicle, pop the key and turn it over so it's there, and then just give it 30 seconds for it to actually register whether that you've actually filled up the tank that's in there. Give it another 30 seconds after that, and then start your vehicle, and you should all be good to go. Just a couple of things it's probably worth you knowing about the AdBlue and the way the system works. If you completely fill the tank, so it's completely filled to the top, you might find, for example, the reading on the dash doesn't change, and the reason for that is that it can't read it because the tank's actually too full. It's right up to the top level, so obviously as soon as it drops a little bit, you'll be able to it'll give you the reading that's on there. So sometimes it might take a little while for it to reset and actually know that you've actually put it in there. As I said, with the 10 litres I always put in, because I know that doesn't fill the tank up, because it's in that middle range of what's needed. You never have that problem in that sense. Then it would always just read straight away for you. In theory, as soon as you get back in, turn your key over, it should have reset itself back to say that you've got a tank full again. So moving on to our second thing we're going to look at, and that is the Diesel Particulate Filter, so DPF. You may have heard it mentioned a couple of times as well. We've mentioned about doing a video on the subject before, and again, not getting too technical, but basically this is a system in your exhaust system. The Diesel Particulate Filter is based in there, and what it's doing is all the particulates that come out of the diesel engine, they're stored up, so it stores all the soot up that comes out of the diesel tank, rather than going straight out of the exhaust system at the end. And then on a regular basis, what it actually does is it regenerates itself, and by doing that it clears out, it burns it off under very high temperature. Can't remember off the top of my head, but I think something like 600 degrees, I think, that it burns it off. And obviously then that, by burning it off, is obviously less polluting then that it comes out, because it's actually burnt it rather than just coming straight out of the exhaust system. A lot of cars have DPF. You know that most of the time you don't have any problems with them or anything like that, because it's actually doing the regeneration on the Volkswagen ones. It's doing it all the time, so as soon as it gets to a certain level, it'll start to try and regenerate. That regeneration program happens when you're just on a normal road and when you're driving. It's one of the reasons why, for example, if you ever stop at a service station and you can smell a sweet burning smell, for example, from your vehicle, that's there, or if you've got your window open, suddenly you can feel a lot of heat that seems to be coming out from underneath the vehicle, that means your DPF has been working. Obviously you've come to a stop now. Another good telltale sign as well is if you get out and take your key out and your fans on your engine are still running. That's because it's creating airflow for the vehicle. Those fans will go off once it's finished doing what it's doing. If you're really not sure about it, if you put your key and turn it on and turn it back off again, they will go off anyway. But it's best to let them continue doing, and it'll continue its process. Now there are a few times when the diesel particulate filter can't actually regenerate. One of them is it does need to have over a quarter of a tank of fuel. So if you've got less than a quarter of a tank in there, it can't regenerate. And obviously if you're using it a lot with not a great deal of fuel in, that can obviously cause a problem because it won't be able to regenerate on a permanent basis. The way in which these systems work, they do need the engine to be warm, so they need to be on a slightly longer run for it to actually regenerate. So a good example is, for example, lockdown, which we're coming out of, going back into, depending on where you are in the country at the moment. These vehicles are getting used less that's on the road, so rather than having the longer journeys that they're used to, going to a shop, for example, to get a newspaper for a mile away every day is not really what diesel vehicles particularly like. So you might get a warning sign on. Now somewhere, I can never point in the right direction, but Tim will sort the logistics out. Somewhere where my finger is now, there'll be a little picture of what the DPF light looks like. So the DPF light comes on. It's very simple. You basically need to take the car for a bit of a run. Need to take it run for about 30 minutes. On normal roads or dual carriageway, motorway, something like that is ideal. So you'll be travelling between 31 and 70 miles an hour, and it just basically means that it's getting a nice constant speed that it's doing that's on there, and then the DPF will start to work, and within that 30 minutes your light will actually go out, or should go out on your dashboard. This basically means that it's done a regeneration, so it's all good and well with that. Now if your light didn't go off after half an hour, that means then there could be a problem obviously with your vehicle, and at that point then obviously you just follow the normal process. So get it booked in, get it checked out, and obviously over time, if it continued to be a problem, you get more warning lights on as well. After that as well, you get things like your engine management lights on as well, but hopefully you never get to that stage. So for the average person, for most people within your normal day-to-day life, the vehicle just happily does what it needs to do. I can hold my hand up and say I've been driving these vehicles just for a long time. As some of you may know, obviously we're based in Liverpool, I live in Chester, so I'm travelling Chester to here every day, which is about half an hour, and I've never had my light come on any of the vehicles that I'm driving. I know when it has been doing generations because I've got any of my fans are still going or something like that, so I know it's obviously doing it, but for most people it's never any more than that for you. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video looking at the AdBlue and the Diesel Particulate Filter. Any questions, queries as normal, pop them in the comments box below. We're going to be doing a new question and answer session very soon, so that'll be coming probably in the next week. So any comments that's there, put them in there and we can get onto that straight away. So as normal, I hope you enjoyed today's video, as I said before. If you have, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, it really does help the channel out, and we'll speak to you again soon.